Welcome back, Charlie here. The interrogation room is a vital part of any police investigation, from genius suspects to daring escapes. These are the craziest interrogation moments ever. First, we have to look at Thomas Robinson. In 2016, Thomas Robinson was arrested. This was for shooting a 17-year-old boy named Joseph Armstrong, sadly ending the 17-year-old's life. Thomas was arrested and taken to the interrogation room for questioning. Little did cops know, talking was the furthest thing from Thomas's mind. The cop bends down to handcuff Thomas to the chair. That's when Thomas looks over at the cop's gun. This gives Thomas a very dangerous idea. He reaches and tries to take the firearm from the cop's holster. Thankfully, due to safety features on the holster, Thomas could not get it out. The cop screams for help and thankfully his colleagues are there in seconds. Thomas was restrained and taken back to his cell. But here's the scary part. Watch the video again and listen to what Thomas says when he tries to take the weapon. That's right, he's actually shouting, "Kill me, kill me." It's likely Thomas was trying to grab the weapon not to escape, but instead to be taken out by the cops. That way he would not have to serve the life sentence for what he did. He was dreading his sentence so much he would rather have cops shoot him and take his life. Moving on, we have to look at Quantrell Schwartzlow. This criminal is famous for pulling off the fastest escape ever. He was arrested on suspicion of strangulation. He was put in an interrogation room to be questioned, but when cops left him alone, it took him a mere 12 seconds to escape. He jumped out of the window and then simply ran away. A cop came in seconds later and realized his mistake.
Oh, no f***ing way.
But the question is, did Quantrell get away? Well, the answer is no. He was actually caught hiding out at a friend's house just 3.5 hours after his escape. Quantrell was brought back to the station, where I doubt cops will leave him unsupervised ever again. Next, let's look at Cynthia Sabaka. Cynthia had been unwell, so had been living with her daughter Laura and her husband Geowood. But while living with her daughter's family, Cynthia saw Geowood being very abusive to Laura and their 2 kids. On Cynthia's 63rd birthday, she'd had enough and ended Geowood's life using a firearm. She was arrested for this, and in the interrogation room shocked cops. Cynthia asked if Geowood had survived the gunshot. When the cops said no, this was her reaction.
Is he alive? He's not? Oh, good. Oh, thank you.
She began saying good and clapping, and even thanked God that Geowood had passed away.
He's dead, man.
Oh, thank you. Oh, boy.
Seeing this elderly grandmother cheer about taking her son-in-law's life really is wild. Cynthia was sentenced to 50 years behind bars for the crime, meaning that she will spend her final days in prison. Next, let's look at Alonso Perez. In 2016, this man was arrested for ending 3 people's lives. Knowing that he would spend the rest of his life behind bars, he knew he had to escape. Police made the mistake of leaving Alonso alone in the interrogation room. Over several minutes, he was able to escape the handcuffs by bending and snapping them using his body weight. Police go in and out of the room several times, but Alonso covers up the handcuffs so they can't see. Once left alone again, Perez climbs into the ceiling, his ankles still shackled. He then climbed through the air vents and escaped the prison, eventually stealing a Ford pickup truck and driving away. There was a live video feed of this happening, but no cops were watching it at the time. A short time later, Alonso was found and arrested again. In 2021, he was given a life sentence. The prosecutor called Alonso one of the worst criminals he'd ever seen. Alonso had ended 3 people's lives, including the life of Mohammed Robinson, all because Mohammed did not open the door for a woman in McDonald's. Apparently, just because of that, Alonso took his life. Next, we have to look at Jeff Pearson. In 2011, a 7-Eleven store was robbed. Police searched the area and found one man named Jeff Pearson. Jeff was a known substance abuser, and he also had a firearm, so they arrested Jeff and began interrogating him immediately. The only thing the cops didn't bargain on was Jeff being so smart. Jeff answered all of the cops' questions perfectly, and instead got the cops to serve him soda and candy all day. Jeff knows that the cops have nothing on him, so he simply says nothing. He knows he can only be held for 24 hours, and then cops legally have to release him. The cops even tell Jeff that he needs to convince them he didn't do it.
You need to give me your side of the story.
I didn't do it.
Okay, well, give me your side of the story. You gotta, convince me.
That's not how the law works, and Jeff knows it. The cop even lies and says they have lots of physical evidence.
Because I got a lot of evidence. I got a lot of physical evidence.
Well, like what? Name the physical
Well, I don't need to, why should I tell you that?
But Jeff smartly does not fall for this bait. He stays relaxed and simply says, like what? Jeff has been through this system a lot, and realizes the cops are getting desperate. Jeff is watching the clock in the interrogation room closely, as he knows that after 24 hours he has to be released. All this while Jeff is going through terrible withdrawal symptoms. Jeff even says the only reason he came to the interrogation room was to get a soda, and now he wants candy.
You halfway know the system, how things work, we halfway don't. Am I right?
I have know
Yeah.
that the only reason I came up here is to get a Coke.
Okay.
And I got it, but now I want a Butterfinger.
But that's not going to happen for a while.
After 24 hours, Jeff was released. This absolute masterclass of what to do if you're arrested was uploaded to YouTube, surprisingly by Jeff himself. From this moment, Jeff began to turn his life around. He no longer uses substances. He now also uploads to YouTube, posting videos about music and how to avoid the police's tricks. Moving on, we have to look at Jared Murray. Jared Murray was a student from Oklahoma. Everyone could tell there was something not quite right about Jared. One day, Jared offered another student named Gennaro Sanchez $20 for a ride to Walmart. Gennaro agreed and Jared got in his car. During the ride, Jared pulled out a firearm and told Gennaro to drive to a different place. At some point, Jared gave Gennaro his firearm to make him feel at ease. But later, Jared pulled out a second firearm. He then pulled the trigger and ended Gennaro's life. Jared was soon arrested by cops and taken to the interrogation room, where one of the creepiest interrogations of all time took place.
In summation that I'm guilty, yes.
Of what?
Of murder.
Okay, and who did you murder?
Gennaro.
Jared admitted to what he did, and said he had nothing against Gennaro.
And how did you murder him?
With a gun. I shot him in the head twice.
Okay.
3 shots were fired, 1 missed.
Jared Murray was found not guilty by reason of insanity, and was sent to a mental institution for the rest of his life. Now we have to look at Jeremy Cancel. One day Jeremy saw a student named Kevin Provea. Kevin asked Jeremy to sell him something. The two then went to Kevin's apartment where they watched the movie Saw. Kevin soon fell asleep, so Jeremy decided to steal things from Kevin's house. But that's when Jeremy got a different idea. Jeremy decided to end Kevin's life. During Jeremy's interrogation, he said his motivation was purely boredom. He showed zero remorse during the trial, and even laughed in the interrogation room and in court. Because of how horrible the crime was and his lack of remorse, he was sentenced to 25 years to life. How you can take someone's life simply out of boredom is crazy. But that is exactly what Jeremy Cancel did. Finally, we have to look at Natavia Lowry. Natavia Lowry worked as a personal assistant for a woman named Linda Stein. Linda was a band manager and real estate businesswoman. Thanks to this, she became extremely wealthy, making millions of dollars. Natavia worked as her personal assistant for many years. But one day, Natavia stole around $30,000 from Linda. Linda confronted Natavia and an argument ensued. During the argument, Natavia grabbed a heavy walking stick and then used it to end Linda's life. Natavia cried in the interrogation room, but many said these were crocodile tears.
I took it and it's like I just hit her with it,
Where about her body?
like right here.
The jury agreed and Natavia was found guilty. She was given a 32-year sentence for what she did. But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Comment down below which of these interrogations was the most crazy. If you want to see my short videos, then check out my second channel. I've been Charlie, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And if you haven't already, then what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.